What's going on, people? Back with a bang. This is the Money Management, back here to bring you guys another midweek recap. Now, first and foremost, I know I've not made a video in a while. For those of you who follow me on social media, you know why. Injured my ankle just over 3 weeks ago, been recovering since. Obviously doing some things in and about outside of that as well. I've still been trading the whole time, so those of you who follow me on Instagram, Twitter, you would have seen that. But those of you YouTube family, you guys probably didn't know what's up. But either way, in this video, what I'm going to do is just recap the 3 trades I took this week. Going to look at a few stocks which could be making some interesting moves over the next few days. Talk about how October ended for the overall market and how I think November is going to go. And of course, just give you guys a few tips and tricks in regards to trading this market. Now, before we do that, show me some love. Do me a favor. Please just drop a thumbs up to show you guys do appreciate me taking time out to make these videos. I'm not sure when the next video will be because I am traveling tomorrow morning, but you guys know how the busy life goes. And of course, as always, show support whatever way you can. Drop a thumbs up, as I mentioned, or comment, whatever you want to do, share the videos, etc, etc. Now, to start off with, oil prices are crashing, and you would have seen that crude oil has been starting to drop. So stocks like ExxonMobil, which we commonly trade in the Discord, has been selling off. Now, I'm going to get into price targets, that kind of stuff later on in the video. But just to start off, I want to mention that when it comes to December, January, even February, it is very common to see crude oil prices drop. You'll see prices of oil start to drop around that period of time. Now, we are coming into that period of time. We're not there yet, but we're coming into that period of time. So expect more sell-off coming soon. Now, to start off with, I've taken 3 trades this week, just 3 trades. The first one was American Airlines, $12 puts. Now, with this, I came away with just under 50%. One thing I want to highlight with this one is it was a pretty quick trade. Now, for those of you who are new to trading, what I did highlight in the Discord is when we were up 20%, it was perfectly fine to move your stop loss to break even. It was also perfectly fine to take profits and move on. So with me, obviously I held a little bit longer, but most importantly, made money with American Airlines. It was a slow and steady drop, but when it eventually dropped, we made money, which is the most important. Next up, second trade of the week, which was Tuesday. I took Tesla puts, $215 puts. Again, pretty, interesting trade because it was one of those where you see profit, take profit. It didn't move as slow as American Airlines. It moved it moved a lot quicker than American Airlines. But what I made sure here was to speak to the people who I was talking to in the Discord, tell them what I saw, how Tesla was starting to sell off. But once it started to recover, you saw green candles coming in, you start to see price starting to get bought up, and when you saw buyers stepping in and price starting to move to the upside, I said to them, it's a perfectly good time to exit the trade, and we came away with just around 30%. Now, the third trade I took this week, QQQ puts, that was today. There was a lot faster trade. QQQ started to rapidly sell off while I was in the trade. Again, it was great timing. QQQ started to rapidly sell off while I was in the trade, and with the $372 puts, I was able to come away with, again, just under 50%. Now, with this one, it's important to highlight the 3 candles where I was in the trade within the 15-minute period, the 3 5-minute candles, was pretty red. They were pretty, the wicks were pretty long, and the bodies ended up being pretty long when the candles closed. So, what I told the Discord as well is, when that happens, you can't expect something to continue selling off, just continue. You do want to either take profit or move your stop loss to break even or higher, or even simply just scale out the trade. Now, as I mentioned before, the reason we do this is because if the stock reverses, then you could be in trouble, which is what happened. Luckily, I had taken profit, so I wasn't in trouble. But for those who didn't take profit, QQQ started to rise up, move up towards 373 and higher. And, well, what do you know? If you were in puts, you probably got stopped out. If you're in puts, you probably took a loss. So when you make those kind of trades, you see a heavy sell-off in a short period of time, take profit, manage your money, move on to the next trade. Now, speaking about QQQ itself, it's quite interesting because just around 2 weeks ago, this stock was around $348, between $342 and $348. I can't remember exactly, but it was just 2 Thursdays ago. Now it's risen all the way up to $373, and I have a resistance at QQQ around $374. So we're still bullish, I'd say. We still got a little bit of upwards movement to happen, but what I would say is look out for that resistance at $374. Once we touch that level, we could tap that level and start selling off again. What also could happen is it could start to move above that level next week, and I'll get onto that in just a second. Now, because I touched on QQQ, which is kind of the the tech stocks, mainly the Nasdaq, I also want to touch on SPY, the overall S&P 500 ETF. So with SPY, that same, I think the end of Thursday, Friday, 2 weeks ago, it sold off to around 410, or just under 410, around 409. Since then, it's pushed up all the way to 437. So it's been on a crazy run. Now, last week especially, it had a very bullish week. and we were expecting a little bit of a pullback this week, which it did. But now we're hovering around that 437 level. So what I want you to note with QQQ and SPY is next week, Wednesday, we have the CPI data report. So we're going to hear about how inflation has moved up, down, what the situation is. And when it comes to this CPI data report, this can shift a lot of the stocks in the market. This can often make certain stocks who have not been moving a lot move heavily. Those stocks will start to move based on the inflation data report, because the inflation report is going to tell us if inflation is going up or down. If inflation comes at a little bit less than we expected, expect the stocks to soar. Expect SPY to push up to 440 and higher. Expect QQ to break above 374, push higher. That's just what happens in these kind of times. You've got to remember that these inflation data reports this week, or next week, is going to be on the November 14th, I think 1 hour before pre-market. Those kind of reports can sway the market. You've got to keep those on your radar. It's good to do technical analysis and look at the chart, but it's also good to understand how news reports these kind of stock movements. Now I kind of want to talk about a few stocks I've been watching, not only ahead of CPI, but just in general in regards to the stock market. So I'm going to start off with ExxonMobil because we already mentioned it. So this is part of the energy sector, and it's just been selling off for the past week, since I think end of October to beginning of November. It's just been selling off. It was around 109, 110 last week, and now it's sold off to lows of 102. I see it going to 100, and there's a strong level of support there. It could break below, but we've already seen a very heavy sell-off, and although I'm leaning bearish, I still think, like I said, it won't go below $100. Not exactly in the next couple of weeks. Now, of course, anything can happen. It doesn't matter what I say, anything can happen. What you can do is always manage your trade. Start thinking about how you're going to plan if it does break below $100. Start understanding what you want to look at in regards to the drop from $103 to $100. I think right now, aftermarket is slightly up. Doesn't really matter. What's important is tomorrow, 9:30, when the bell rings and the market opens. Next up, PayPal, ticker symbol PYPL. So for PayPal, what I'm looking at here is a break above, just below $57, so a break above around $56.90, and then for us to push up. With PayPal, what you want to know is, even though it had a good day today, it only finished the day up less than 1%. So if you think we missed out on the move with PayPal, we definitely haven't. It has jumped up $5 in the past week. That's fine. I mentioned on my Twitter last week, PayPal at $50 is a steal. But I have a huge long-term price target for this, $118. It still has a lot of way to go, a lot of room to run. So it's still, in fact, got 100% return potential on common shares. So understand that with PayPal, it's started to show signs of strength. It started to show bullish. That's fine. I want a confirmation of the uptrend before I invest. Again, we've missed a $5 run up in the last week. There's still so much more potential it has. For those of you who are swing traders, this is a great setup. Once it does confirm, give us that confirmation of a bullish trend, you can enter your play, whether you want to take calls on it or whether you want to buy shares, whatever. I'm probably most likely going to be doing both, but we'll see when it comes to that. Moving on, Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. This has made a lot of people in the group good money this week. The Discord has been eating off Tesla. Like I said, I made money off Tesla puts yesterday. Other people made money off Tesla calls. Now, with Tesla, it's starting to range in that channel between $220 and $225, kind of closing in between that price point the last couple of days. Right now, after hours, it's slightly down. That's fine. It's around 220. I'm really watching to see how it opens, but what I want to see is a break above 225, us to push past 230, 234, and then eventually 240 within the next couple of weeks. I don't think Tesla will continue bearish as it has been the last couple of weeks. It did sell off all the way down to lows of $196 before it started to recover. Again, one of the tweets I put out, I mentioned that Tesla, the way it was trending, it looked like it was very low and it was due to pop up soon enough. Lo and behold, it's starting to pop up now and it's showing us those signs of strength which I've talked about. Now I want to talk about AMD. So AMD has been on a tear upwards since earnings last week. It's made about, it hit lows of $95 last week and it's now $113. So it's made, $18 gain within just a week. With AMD, I'm looking for it to break past 114. If it does break past 114, we could be on to move towards 118 and $120. If it starts to trend back down to 110, that's the key level to watch. For me, this is a stock that moves very nicely within a day, a couple of days. So if you do trade properly and manage your trade well, you can get great gains of AMD, as you've seen us do in the Discord. Now, last but not least, I want to touch on Apple. So with Apple, one thing you want to know of Apple, and this is more about the fundamental analysis. If a lot of the stocks are showing signs of weakness, if you see a lot of negative news around the market, expect Apple to sell off as well. And of course, as Apple sells off, a lot of stocks in the market sell off. So it's, kind of like a catch-22. So with Apple, it's kind of giving you an indication of what the market's doing overall. So if Apple starts to push past $182 higher, expect SPY to start pushing past $440, even higher. If Apple sells off back to 176, back to whatever lows it does sell off to, expect other stocks in the market, your Microsofts, your Metas, those to kind of sell off as well. Apple's not really on my watch list, but Apple is what I do look at to get a good indication of what the market is doing and what the market is most likely to do. Now, lastly, a couple tips in regards to trading this market. 1, be patient. Patience pays in this market. 2, when you see profit, take that profit. This isn't really the market to be trying to do different tricks and tips and hold on to something which seems to be selling off, or trying to buy something when it's already jumped up 2, 3, 4% in a day. See profit, take profit. This market is not being very kind to us, and any little bit of news is starting to affect the market in different ways. 3, invest in what you know. Invest in the stocks you know. If you have a watch list of 4 or 5 stocks, trade those tickers. If you have a watch list of 10 stocks, trade those tickers. If you have 5 different watch lists you're bringing out every day with 10 new different stocks, you're going to get lost, you're going to get confused, you're going to start to lose money. Trust me, it's more likely that you are less profitable when you're trading a bunch of different stocks. Focus on a few different stocks and make sure you capture your gains where you can. Make sure you trade, execute, have a plan when you trade those. And now I also do want to mention, if you are struggling with trading stocks and you need a community to join, come and check out the Royal Trading Academy. That is our Discord. We are teaching there every day. We're live trading there every day. Doing different breakdowns, showing charts, discussing stocks night and day. So make sure you come check out the Discord, Royal Trading Academy, link in the description below. If you are struggling when it comes to how to trade stock options, understanding stock options, the Greeks, what calls, what puts are, all those kind of things, how I trade, that kind of stuff, check out the stock options starter pack. It's a one-time fee. You have access to those videos for life. And of course, always check out all my social media. You've got me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, @TheWealthPrince. And most importantly, be back here next time for another video. As I mentioned, tomorrow morning I'm going to be traveling, but I'm still going to be trading while I'm out in Chicago. So make sure you come and tap into the Discord, as I mentioned again. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. That's it from me. I go into making, you go into making. See you guys next time for another video. Peace.
Game over.